Good morning, fam. It is Wednesday, January 11th, 2023, and I am here another 5:30 a.m. These streams just keep getting earlier and earlier. Um, I was actually awake at I got out of bed a little bit after 4. Uh, and, and thought about starting the stream then, but I need a little me time. And now, just kind of get online. I kind of check social media and make sure, see what news kind of happened while I was asleep. And then now I want to kind of loosen up, get ready for the day to, do a little programming. And then actually, after the stream, jump into my day job of actually doing a lot of programming. So, now, you might notice that the computer looks a little bit different today. I'm actually on my Mac, one of my Macs, and this is, what is that? I don't even want to know what that is. Um, but you might notice today that, like I said, I'm on my Mac. I'm on one of the Macs, and I wanted to do something different. The Windows machine that I use, while I love the look and feel of the Windows machine and actually the tools with it, such as Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code, but of course Visual Studio Code is cross-platform. I wanted to just kind of change it up a little bit. And also, anybody who's watched me work on the Windows machine, I wanted you to see the vast difference. I suspect that many of you are on Windows machines, and the lag that I experience on that Windows machine is not specific to that Windows machine. This is how Windows machines are, and I think that there are so many people that just think that that's how computers are when they're not. Macs. Now, the Mac we're going to be working on today is literally 10 years old. Let's see. Um, we can look at Monterey. It should tell me the model number somewhere. System. Okay. So we're working on 3 gigahertz Xeon E5. Should let's see. We got half a terabyte. Ooh, it's getting full. Let me empty the trash. I don't know when the last time I've done that is. I'll talk a little bit about this machine in a while. 24 gigs of RAM, so that's not great, but I wanted to see what model this is. Okay, MacBook Pro late 2013. So yeah, so this machine is going on 10 years old, and it still runs beautifully. It runs amazing. This is the Mac trash can, and I'll show you which Mac it is. It's not a MacBook Pro. It's a Mac Pro 2013, and yeah, that's what it is. It's the as we called it affectionately, the trash can model. So I love this machine, and I have a laptop, MacBook Pro, which is a kind of an updated version of this. Well, actually, I can't even say that. The MacBook Pro is just it's a much superior machine, but even so, the difference in performance really is not drastic. It's crazy how similar they are, and how this 10-year-old machine is leaps and bounds faster than I think the Windows machine I was using is maybe 2 or 3 years old. And I've shown you the specs on the Windows machine before. So look at this again. Whoops, wrong one. If we look at this again, 2013, 3 gigahertz, 8 core, 24 gigs of RAM. So it still holds up. It still holds up quite well, actually. All right, so what are we going to be working on today? That is the question. We are not going to be working on the Zen 4.0 plugin. That right now is kind of not, I'm not going to say complete by any means, but it is in a state where I don't want to work on it anymore. That's kind of where we're at. So today, what I want to do is I want to start working on, well, I already have started working on, but I want to quote unquote get serious about what I would consider the piece de resistance of my entire programming career. Now, the MacBook Pro that I've been talking about, this machine was my machine for a long time, from about 2013 when I got it until about 2000, a little bit after COVID, maybe like the end of 2020, and that's when I got the MacBook Pro. And then, so this Mac, it just kind of sat. And it wasn't doing anything. It was literally in my garage for a while, and then it was just on the floor, not plugged in. And so I decided to rearrange my office at home. I decided to have an office upstairs and an office downstairs. And then so I said, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll set the Windows machine up upstairs. I'll set the Mac trash can up downstairs, and then the MacBook Pro will be when I'm on the couch. So that way I have a different machine to work no matter where I'm at. Now, mind you, that still leaves like 3, 4 other laptops and 2 desktops I'm not using. There's a ridiculous amount of computers in this house, and actually, there is a Mac as well, an iMac, which is incredibly old and slow, and I have thoughts of just taking it apart to use it as a monitor. Anyway, so this Mac that we're working on has a lot of old code, and one of the things I wanted to show was the project OWL, which I had mentioned, I think, yesterday. And OWL is a message board reader, as you know, that would probably be the simplest way to put it. It's basically just an application that allows you to aggregate all these that allows you to aggregate different message boards and kind of have them in one generic UI. So you can see here, this is the interface. Again, this is Mac, so it's going to look very Macy. And then let's go to Joe's message board. And this is my good friend Joe. He runs Jote, Joe's Unlimited Over. I don't remember what Jote stands for, but anyway, it's his message board. And many of you know him as Birdo Prey 5, but it allows you to kind of just look at the different forums. It allows you to look at different threads, and then you can go to another message board like mine, for example, and you can do the same thing. You can look at different forums, you can look at different threads, and then even when you have a thread, you can even view into it. Now, this was a work in progress. This was this again. You know, I had never stopped work on OWL. I worked on it on and off for years and years and years, and then I kind of abandoned it. And this is kind of the state I left it in. At one point, I had rewritten this menu over here on the left. I had to write that control, and then I redid the layout here in the middle. This portion where it shows all the forums, and actually you can see what it used to look like. You can kind of see what it used to like. You can kind of see what it used to look like here at the bottom is what it used to look like. But anyway, I'll hide that for now. And then I had started rewriting the right-hand side, which was the thread view, because you click on a forum, and then the forum lists the list. So this is the forum view, which is a list of threads. And I think I had finished this, or I was happy with this as it was, and then I needed to work on this, which was the actual thread view, which showed the posts inside of the thread. And then, you know, it had some features. It had, I think, like I could hide the sticky. A lot of stuff was broken because this was all just like kind of mid development stuff. And really, I haven't seen this in a couple years because I literally haven't worked on it in a couple years. Like if we go over to the source code repository and we look at the source code, you could see, okay, like all the commits were like 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Here's one 9 months ago, but all I did was update the README file. So it's been like 3 years since I've done any type of code changes to this. And also you can see here, this is what the original UI looked like. This also was on Mac, but I ended up revamping it quite a bit, and I made the new one look a little more modern, at least modern as of 3 or 4 years ago. I think that's around the time Slack got really popular, and so I kind of made it. I wanted it to feel and look a little bit like Slack, and I think I accomplished that pretty well. And here with the original version, it kind of looked like maybe a little bit like Outlook or something like that. And that was originally how I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it as the Outlook of message boards, where Outlook is a email reader program. I wanted it to be a message board reader program. And again, this was the program that was getting 5 to 10 downloads a day on the Apple App Store, which had I actually, worked on it, made it better, improved it, I probably could have made a little money off of it, but c'est la vie. All right. So what does that have to do with what we're going to work on today? That is a good question. So my vision is, why isn't this moving? Okay, my vision is to have something like this where you're able to, add message boards as I've added over here. Some of these are long gone. I don't even know what some of these are. Oh, Kiwi Farms. Straight Dope. Is that still a message board? Let's see. Connect. Ow, we encountered. Let's see. Okay. I'm just curious now. Off topic. The Maryland Shooters Forum. That still seems to work. I know that doesn't work. And then you can add a board. Yeah, and you can see a lot of the UI. Some of it looks modern. Some of it desperately needs to be updated. Let's see, what is this? All right, give me 1 second. Okay. So again, what does that have to do with what we're going to start working on today? What does that have to do with my piece de résistance? I like saying it like that. It's very French. I mean, it is French. The piece de résistance. What does this have to do? Right. That's a good question. Well, my vision is that you will have an application that looks like this, that looks like Discord, that looks like Slack, that looks like, one of these kind of like communication programs. And you will be able to chat with people like you do on Discord. And here I am talking with some friends. Let's go to something, like the Discord of my message board. And you can see it's a very, even here, it's an extremely similar layout. I'm not going to load up Slack because there's, business correspondence on there. But here on Discord, you can see the layout is very similar. Now, one big difference is what I had written is written in C++. This is written using the Qt framework, and Discord is written using Electron. Now, I do believe that there is C++ on the back end of Discord. I know there is C++ on the back end of Slack. But the front end is all JavaScript, and it uses this framework called Electron. And Electron basically, it's a little more complicated than this, but Electron is basically a browser window. It allows you to just write an application that kind of runs inside of a browser window. But the browser window is presented to the user as an application window. And what I mean by application window, I mean like this. This whole thing right here that I'm moving, that's an application, and the window is the window in which the application is presented. Same thing here with Discord, the application window. And even here in a browser, the browser has this application window. And you can kind of think of Electron as kind of just Chrome, because they actually both use the Chromium browser. But just the browser portion of it. And then it allows you to do a bunch of stuff natively, like, look at the file system. A lot of things that you can't do generally, that you can't do with a normal web application. But with Electron, using JavaScript with Electron and, certain API, you can do things like, load up file dialogues or get directory names and save disks to file, or save files to disks. So you can do that kind of thing with Electron. Great. All right. So this is where I start to get a little indecisive, or I start to get decision paralysis, because I don't know. It's like I have 3 different paths forward and I don't know which is the best one. And I literally get stuck, and then I end up doing nothing because I can't make a decision. And this happens all the time to me. I think it's actually fairly common, probably, to anybody in any career. But this happens often with me in work. You're writing a feature, and there's 3 different ways you can implement it. Each way has its pros, each way has its cons, and you're like, well, they're all about equal. And then you start to think like, "Whoa, my God! Well, what would happen if I did it this way, and then this thing goes wrong? Maybe I should do it this way. But if I do it this way, then this other thing could go wrong. Oh no!" And you just sit there for like an entire day thinking about it, and then ultimately you can't make a decision. So let's explore the options of what we have to do, or like what options we have moving forward, how we could move forward with this. So I have this, I have that, and then where's the other thing that I want? An example electric CPP, and then all right, there's another repository I'm looking for. I don't know if it's under this. Oh wait, I gotta sign in. And I'll talk about the different repositories in a second. Did I put it under here? Did I rename it? I might have renamed it. All right, let's look. I think this is it with me having renamed it, maybe. Render. Okay, this is it. Okay. What I am kind of leaning towards. So the project, my piece de resistance, I am tentatively calling Kekbo. And I think that I will probably stick with that name for a few reasons. I like the name Kekbo, and here it is, Kekbo. I went ahead a while back and I bought Kekbo.com, but as I mentioned, and it doesn't go anywhere or do anything right now, but one thing I kind of like also is that I can buy Kek.bo. And this also, as I mentioned yesterday, has some kind of sentimental value because .bo is the domain, top level domain for Bolivia. And anybody who knows me knows that I have strong ties to Bolivia. I go to Bolivia often. I have family in Bolivia. I have dear friends in Bolivia. So it just kind of works like Kekbo. And we looked at the price of Kekbo.com or Kekbo yesterday, Kek.bo. We looked at the price yesterday, and I think it was like $300. And while I can afford $300, the hesitation I have of buying the domain is that I have a habit of buying domains and doing nothing with them. And okay, so it's $209, but I can show a list. Let me do it over here off screen really quick to get a list of domains that let's see. I don't know how much I want to do on screen because I know there's a few domain names that are maybe a tad inappropriate. a tad inappropriate that are tad inappropriate. Okay, let me see if I can find this. Okay, I got to do two-factor authentication to get into where's my phone? Always turn on two-factor authentication, kids. Remember that. Especially with something like, GoDaddy or, Gmail and things like that. It's not perfect, and I'm sure it can be hacked, but it's better than just a password. So turn it on. Let me see. No, let's just put a little bit of this on. I want to show the domains that I have. But I think there's like one or two that I want to block out. Well, let me look. Maybe not. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. Is that the whole page? Okay. So yeah, so you can see here, I have a lot of domains. ttg.online is expiring soon. I got some for my old podcast, Addie and Gabe Show. I've got a lot for my message board that I talked about. For the Project Owl, I registered a few different domains. I registered owl.dog, and I also registered, let's see if I can put these in alphabetical order. I registered owl.dog, owl client. You can see like I said, you can see all of the ones from my message board up here. I've dabbled in writing my own cryptocurrency. I've dabbled in, which is what Ashcoin is. I've dabbled in writing games, which is what Dogfinger is. Henry Coin's another cryptocurrency. Hotspring.cloud I've done absolutely nothing with. I thought that maybe I wanted to start. I didn't want to. I wanted to start hosting websites, but I didn't want to sell. I just wanted to host my own websites, and I was going to do it with Hotspring.cloud, but I never did anything with it. Kekbo.com, like I said, LOLs apps, and then there's just a few domains that I've used to troll people. So I have kind of a problem with buying domains and then kind of doing it's an addiction. It's a domain addiction. Get help. If you keep buying domains and you can't stop yourself, there's people out there that can help you. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Oh, almost had a little disaster there. Let me close this. I want to trying to get the chat room back off screen, just in case anybody shows up. I had to download a new version of OBS. I don't know why the docking window doesn't show up for streaming. Ignore stream. I don't know where the dock windows. Lock docks, reset. There's no chat locking dock like there is on the Windows machine. So I don't know if that's a Mac limitation or what it is. I just want to check for updates really quick. Okay, I'm up to date, so I don't know what the deal is. All right, so back to this. So the project is called Kekbo. That will be my piece de resistance. Now, the client version, and there is an entire back-end version of this too that I will eventually work on, but the front-end version is what I want to start work on first. The front end will be Electron, JavaScript, and I want it all to be created with CMake. Well, CMake is a C++ tool. Now, I'm thinking what I want to write first is a template. A template that is for any generic project, any generic Electron project where you want to have a C++, where you want it to use C++ libraries, and you want to build the whole thing with CMake. I know a few people that have looked for things. I have maybe 70% of the knowledge I need to write it. And so my thought is okay, maybe what I do is I write the template, or you can kind of think of it as a library. You write the template library first. And then when I finish that, I will take that template and use it to start writing the actual application. And I've done that before. Like, I have a couple of templates I've actually written and completed. Now, I haven't maintained them. Like, here is a template for using C++. What is this? A C++ Conan CMake Qt6 project template. And you can see here that, I list all the things. It uses C++20, it uses Qt6, a custom static library, GitHub Actions to build on all three, a unit test environment, code coverage, and then some things about. But this is useful because then if I want to start I want to start a new project where I need to start a new Qt project, I can come over here and then actually I can go to, because it's a public template, I can go to repositories, create a new one, and I can select the template. And you can see here there's a couple others I've used. So I have a template with Qt. I have a template with Boost, the Boost library, which is very popular in C++. I started writing the template for cursors. I don't think I finished that one. Cursors is command line, like Vim. Like when you see interfaces like this that are in the console window, that's generally that uses cursors. So I started writing a project that does that, or a template that allows you to quickly write applications using cursors. So the thought is, all right, let me write this template, and then when the template is ready, I can also release the template and say, hey, here you go. And then I can clone the template or create a new project with the template and then start work on my piece de resistance. Now, of course, the template would be part of the piece de resistance. And also doing the template first would allow me to have something It would allow me to release something quicker. It would allow me to feel like I had accomplished something quicker. Or no, it would more quickly allow me to feel like I accomplished something. And like that's something you got to consider as well, because like if I'm sitting here writing Kekbo and or working on my piece de resistance, it's going to be a while before I have anything I can give to somebody and anything I can release. And that can get frustrating because you're working on this project for 6, 12 months and you're like, you don't have anything to show for it. I mean, you have something to show for it, but you don't have anything to show other people. And it's really satisfying as a software developer. I've been doing it for a long time. It's really satisfying just when people use your software. Quick story. I know I'm just rambling, but if you're watching this at 5:30 in the morning, then you probably don't have much going on. So I one of the in my career, I've had a lot of moments that I'm kind of proud of. And I think one that jumps out, and this has been an interview question, and I've used this as in interviews before. Let me take a sip of soda, but when I worked at America Online at AOL, yes, I know. Yeah, you can make fun of AOL all you want, but back in like the late 90s and early 2000s, they were the bomb, and they were a great place to work. They made mistakes business-wise, but they were an amazing employer. They really were. Great benefits, great work environment, gave you everything you needed. They were a great place to work. AOL was an amazing place to work. And I know I made a lot of friends there. I worked there for a long time. And I still have, Facebook friends that are still employed there, that have been employed there now for over 20 years. Anyway, AOL, everybody remembers the AOL client, and that's the program that like they would send you the discs. Although, like if you're in your 20s, you don't remember it. But anybody that's 30 and over, maybe 35 or over, you'd get your AOL discs in the mail, and you would install that, and you could get on AOL. And but what it installed was the AOL client, and then they had to with the installer was the uninstaller, and people might not realize how much work goes into like these things. Like it's not like you have one programmer writing the client, and that programmer is also going to write the program that installs it and also write the program that uninstalls it. No, you're talking teams. And you're going to talk a team of people just writing the installer, and maybe a team of like one or two people writing the uninstaller, and things like that. So there's a lot of work that goes into these things. And so anyway, I've been there for maybe 5 years or so, and AOL was they were trying to be more modern. They were trying to change things up. And they were releasing, instead of releasing the AOL client, they were trying to release piecemeal programs. So they were going to have their AOL mail program, their AOL instant messenger program. They even, for a little while, had their own AOL browser program. AOL parental controls was a big one. And what they wanted is they wanted each of those to have a single uninstall experience, so that you would go to add remove programs on Windows, and you would click the AOL uninstaller, and then the uninstaller would load up, and it would show you all the different AOL programs you had installed. You could select it, and then it would uninstall it. So I wrote the AOL uninstaller. It was called the Uber uninstaller, because basically all it did was list all the uninstallers of all the programs, and it allowed you to select them, and then it just ran all the uninstallers, because each program had its own uninstaller, and the Uber uninstaller just kind of said, oh, okay, you want to uninstall these 3 things? Let me run each of those uninstallers. But yeah, so we called it the Uber uninstaller. And this was maybe 2004, 2005 timeframe. And I remember when it got released, and this was still at a time when you could go to Best Buy and just try out the test computers. I mean, I guess you still can. But I remember going to Best Buy and loading up, went into Windows and loaded up, went to add remove programs, clicked on the AOL uninstaller, and there popped up my UI. And just the idea that something I had written was running on literally thousands of computers like all over the world, uh, was really cool. It was really cool. It was a really satisfying experience, and you know, people make fun of me because it's the AOL uninstaller. It's the AOL uninstaller, such a little piece of software, and such a forgotten piece of software. But somebody had to write it. Somebody had to put a lot of time and effort into it. Somebody had to put a lot of time and effort into not just writing it, but debugging it and testing it and making sure it worked. So you know, people don't realize how much work goes into software development. And that's why, like, you know, these. I have a friend who, you know, he constantly complains because he'll buy like a microphone or a camera or something, and he'll buy it, and then 5 6 years later, after a couple of OS revisions, the device is incompatible with the new operating system, and he's bitching because the company, you know, like Mike's microphones, you know, he'll bitch because Mike's microphones hadn't released a new device driver for the newest version of Windows. And I'm like, well, you know, you're using a microphone that's 5 6 7 years old for one. Uh, Also, it's quite possible that the way it's written, you just can't do it with the new version of Windows. And even if they could, there's still a cost benefit analysis to it. And he's like, no, they should just do it. Why can't they just write it? And I'm like, you know, it's not as simple as just going into a source code file and changing, oh, Windows, you know, Windows 9 to Windows 10 or whatever. You know, it's not that simple. You have to, especially if Windows changes a lot of the underlying API or whatever, you don't know what's going on. You have to write it. Then you have to, well, first you got to design it, then you got to write it, and then you got to test it, then you got to do documentation. Like, you know, just writing a driver update can easily cost tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. And if you're a small company, are you going to invest 6 figures into a driver update that's going to give you no return for an item that maybe a few hundred customers bought? No, of course you're not. So I get it. But people, you know, I think they think that because software isn't something tangible, it's not something you can necessarily hold in your hand, they think it should be free. And so I don't know. I used to argue with him all the time. It's quite a tangent. I've been talking for about a half hour and I haven't coded a thing. So I think the path forward here then, I think the path forward is to work on this project right here, Electron CPP. This is the template project that I talked about. So what we will do, and we're not going to do it today. I mean, we'll get started, but the path forward is here. This is going to build the static library from C++. We're going to use that static library in an Electron app. We will also be able to build an executable file from the Electron app. We will build an installer and uninstaller. That looks like a typo. And everything will be done through CMake. So there's a couple of things I want to add here. So let's start. The first step is going to just be cloning the source code onto our drive. Okay, what's that? That's something else. Okay. Vim, you got me again. All right, so Lulz Apps is kind of like, I don't know, if I started a company that was like Kekbo. If I started a company that was releasing Kekbo, I would call it, the company would be Lulz Apps. Like, I think Discord is the company name and it's the product name, but Lulz Apps would be the company name, Kekbo would be the product. So that's why you have this Lulz Apps here. Electron CPP, I could actually give this to Lulz Apps. I do have a Lulz Apps organization in GitHub. Let's see, danger zone, transfer ownership. Like I said, like right here, Lulz Apps. I was also thinking, I created an organization, Addy and Stereo, because if I do a lot of, if I do streaming, let's just keep it where it's at right now, and we can always change it later. So let's go ahead and clone. But this is where I'm getting paralysis, because I'm like, well, maybe I should just change it. Maybe I should just change it. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change the owner. I'm I change the owner to, because like I said, I can change it back. I am the owner of Lulz app, so I can change it back. John, I understand. All right, just wants me to confirm. Must match Electron CPP. Did I have a white space at the front or at the end? Must match Electron. It has a white space. Okay. There it goes. All right, so now if I go to the organization Lulz apps, I should see Electron CPP here. Yeah, I like this little creating apps with Lulz. I am so clever. All right, let's clone it now. Now we can clone it. Now that we are in the Lulz apps folder, we can feel better about cloning it. Electron CPP. And see, you see how fast it cloned that? Again, Windows would still be working on it. All right, let's load it up. Oh, I think code is screwed. I think the code command line is screwed up on this computer. Let me see. Yeah, it is screwed up. All right, so we will have to do this another way, which is not a big deal. I need to fix that though. I do like just being able to type, just being able to type code and then the folder name, and it just opens up the folder right away. Okay. Where to start? So where we are going to start is we're going to start by incorporating changes we have already, because like I said, I did start work on Kekbo. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the relevant changes from Kekbo and put them into this template. There is some useful code in Kekbo, and I will go ahead and I'll show you Kekbo as well. Let's go ahead and look at that, and you can see what I mean about how the layout is and everything. But I probably need to update npm or Node.js. Brew, is it update? Node.js. This command updates Brew itself. Upgrade, then. All right, we'll let that run. All right, so here's the Kekbo repo. I go ahead and so we'll go ahead and change source into Lulz apps, and we'll clone that. All right, lightning fast, lightning fast. I wonder how old the version of Node.js on this machine is. Or is it it's Node? 11. I have a feeling that's pretty old. Node.js. Version 18. Oh, version 19. So version 18 is long-term support. Version 19 is the latest. Ooh, ow, I just pinched my finger. Just pinched the heck out of my finger. Now, Homebrew is actually probably going to take a few minutes to run. But this is probably the best way to upgrade it. So while it's running, let's take a trip down memory lane. Oh, my dog is awake. Hey, boy. Come here, little man. Come here. Say hi to everybody, everyone. Say hi. Say hi, Internet. Hi. He just wants to sleep on my lap is what he wants to do. All right, so I am going to have this window not take up the entire screen because I want to be able to see when Homebrew's done doing what it's doing. And so what I want to do, I kind of want to just kind of look at OWL just to kind of look at it. I haven't looked at it in a long time. So you can see here the general structure. This is like I said, it's a C++ app. It's not with us. So it is still a C++ app. It used CMake for the build system. I did a lot of work on this app over the years. I had installers, but I just guess I just had the Windows installer. But then eventually I did add. Thought I had added GitHub Actions to it. Oh no, this was so old. I was still using Travis and AppVoyer. So these were other CI/CD services. So when you have not even just, I was going to say when you have an open source project. Well, when you have a project, it is advantageous for you to want to make code changes and then push those code changes to your source repository. And then when those code changes are pushed to the source repository, you want to trigger your CI/CD system. And what that does is that takes the code that is in the source repository and builds it, and builds, it compiles it, builds a compiled version, and then it can do a few things from there. It will build, for example, at one of my jobs, what we did was you would push your code into the repository, and then you would manually tell the CI/CD system, okay, we're ready for you to run. It would get the latest code. It would build the installers. So that was another thing. It would build the installers, and then it would take those installers, install them on a test machine, and then it would interact with that test machine and just do a bunch of stuff, a bunch of tests. And so that way you could tell, generally you could tell really quickly if any of your code changes broke something, which was great. It still is great. And so that's what I had implemented with OWL. And that's what this travis.yml file does, and that's what the AppVoyer YAML file does. Travis YAML was for OS X, which is Mac, and it was also for Linux right here, Linux. And then AppVoyer was specific to Windows. So you can see, if you just kind of browse through this, it's just it's running some CMake commands to build everything. If you're on, it's installing some requirements like Qt5, which is what it used. That was the version of Qt. And then it just kind of did things. It just built the installer. It built the program, built the installer, and then it ran some tests. If everything was successful, it would build a release package, and then it actually would also do. It would also upload the installer that it had just built so that people could download it and install it. Because if you go over here and you go to the download page, oh wow, now this is pretty out of date. It looks like it's been broken for a long time. This says the beta version 0.75 is available on December 31st, 1969. But it looks like it works. I bet this exe, I bet if you download and install that exe, it works. But this was the OWL page. I had a wiki page for it because the idea was that if you had a message board and you wanted your message board to be usable through OWL, there are a few ways you could do that. One, OWL would just kind of look at your message board and try to detect what message board software you were using, and then once it determined that, it would try to determine if that was something that it itself could parse the data out. So it could just do regular HTTP calls and then parse the data and then display it how it wanted to. That was one way. Another way was that admins can install Tapatalk, and actually that's what I did here. So you could see, like if I go to settings, where is it? You could see, you can see right here under the advanced tab, it tells you which parser it's using. And in this case, it's using Tapatalk. And if I go to Joe's board, it probably is too. I'd imagine probably most of them were. Tapatalk. What about this one? Tapatalk. So I'm trying to find one that didn't use Tapatalk so I can explain a little bit more. Hey, stop it. Okay, so if it didn't use Tapatalk, but this here is Zen4 1.0. This was an example of where OWL would try to determine which form software version you were using, and then say, okay, I'm going to expect that. I'm going to expect data formatted in that style, and then just get the data, get what I need from that. And then the other idea was that users would be able to, I had like all kinds of visions that admins would also be able to kind of define their own ways or their own formats that could interact with OWL, and that way you can actually add little features to OWL. Like one idea I had was like, okay, well, admins can, well, actually I implemented one of them, and I'll show you. It doesn't work anymore, obviously, but it did for a while. Like the AOL encryptor here. So what you could do here is if I was an admin and I wanted to make sure, like, let's ignore HTTPS and SSL. But, like if I'm at work, and this is exactly why I developed this, because I was at work, and the company that I used to work for, what they would do is they were a network analysis company. And so, of course, in the office, they had software running that would analyze the network traffic, which means if I went to a website while I was at the office, they could see everything, even if it was encrypted, because it was kind of like a man-in-the-middle type thing. And, and so they could see everything, even if it was HTTPS. And so I wanted to avoid that. So one of the features I added to OWL was, okay, well, this here allowed an admin to put a little OWL encrypting key and seed onto the server, and then OWL would see that, and then therefore it would do another encryption of everything that was passed back and forth. So all of the responses from the message board would be encrypted, and then only OWL could decrypt it. And so in that case, HTTPS, for example, that it would do you no good. You would see decrypted data. The data was essentially encrypted twice. But anyway, that was kind of the point of the AOL encryptor. But the idea was that that admins would be able to do things like that. They would be able to add little features with these configuration files on their server that OWL would be able to load up and take advantage of. Another idea that I had that I never mentioned or never implemented was that admins could be able to define some type of ad file, so that way when users were using OWL to view their message board, you could actually have ads appear inside of OWL that the admin of the board controlled. So things like that. All right, looks like Homebrew's doing something, but here on the wiki page, like I had a fair amount. Like, okay, release notes on 0.6. What else do we got? Tutorial on how to add a new board. This is interesting to look at because I literally have not looked at this in years. The configuration files and the paths for the configuration files, because I hate that. I hate installing a program, and I know it has a configuration file. I know it has log files, but I have no idea where. I have no idea what folder that stuff's being published in. What else do we... OWL ignore. I forgot about this. OWL ignore is a text file that allows users to specify a list of Lua parsers that OWL should ignore when starting up. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Hey, I'm streaming. And the file should contain... All right, one sec.
You locked her.
What?
You locked her at the outfit.
Oh, she's in the wrong line.
You have to find maybe she peed.
All right, hold on. Let me make this issue. Okay. So I'm just curious as to, because like everything here is something I implemented. So I'm just curious as to like how much work I did. owl.ini, this file stores on startup. Owl will look in this file for a user's data path, settings, data path. This is kind of fun for me because it's like looking at old work I did. Specifying a Tapatalk path. Right. Boards that use Tapatalk, I spent probably a week reverse engineering the Tapatalk protocol. Talk about a pain in the ass. Tapatalk there was this bug. I got it to work fairly well, but there was this bug where authentication would just drop. Like you would be using it would be working great and everything you were able to view, and then after like 15-20 minutes, suddenly you would get unauthorized errors and you had to log back in, and I couldn't figure out why, because the Tapatalk application on your phone didn't do that. Turned out that, and in order to figure this out, I had to connect my phone to my desktop's Wi-Fi and sniff the traffic that way. And that's where I figured out that the Tapatalk client was sending a refresh in the background like every 10-15 minutes, or no, it wasn't. It was sending a refresh with the latest request. So if 10 minutes had passed, it would send a request with the next request. It would send a refresh with the next request. So once I implemented that, it worked fine. So I had a 1.0 release plan. Oh, look, I wanted to release on January 31st, 2015. Well, I'm a little behind. Flarum. Oh, I remember Flarum. What happened to Flarum? Was a great. It was like a modern rewrite of a message board, and it was open source too. Let me look. It looks really nice. I think it looks great. And I was really considering moving my board over to Flarum. Wow, this does look really, and this is like what I want on my board. I want 2 panes. I want the left hand side and the right hand side. Oh, this does look really good. Oh wow. Oh, that looks amazing. And their own version 163. But I remember Flarum. I remember people were pissed off because there was no way to download it. There was no way, because like with vBulletin, with Zenfora, you can actually download the software and then upload it to your server. With Flarum, you had to have SSH access in order to install it. I bet I have an account still. Yeah, I do. Wow, no, it looks really nice. It looks nice. Maybe I should just install. I like this. I like this layout. I really like this. I'm sure my users would hate it, but I like it. How does it look on? I'm sure it's reactive. Yep, it's reactive. Wow, no, that looks nice. So I was adding Flarum support because I wanted to use it for my board, and I was like, well, if I have a message board, I want to make sure it's compatible with the message board reader. Let me do one more random page. Release notes for 074. It was released in April 2016. It included an implementation of the spell check. Oh, I remember that. I remember adding that. A list of default user agent strings, as well as functional changes. Oh, that's right. I did implement user strings. So, let me see. User agent strings, I should say, is what I advanced. Where's the list? Huh. Anyway. So the spell check, it just did the little squiggle, the red squiggly line if it was misspelled. Currently only American in UK English is supported. User agent options. Oh. I put it under preferences. Look at this. Look how nice this is. This looks almost like a professional program. This looks so nice. I had options about how to display the date. Where is this? So this is under advanced. Advanced. Internet. Ah, yeah. The default user agent. Ah, man, I put a lot of work into this. And it was so much fun at times. So again, I'm showing all of this because this is kind of where I want to move towards. I want to be on par. I want to have parity with the features of OWL, but I want to have more. I want to have. I don't want to say I want to have parity with the features of Discord, but I want to have parity with the features of OWL and the basic features of Discord. Okay, let's see if Node is updated now. Do I need to restart my shell? What am I missing? Brew, install Node. Okay, I need to link it then. Brew, link. Maybe that's all I need to do. Okay. Brew, link, overwrite Node. Brew, link overwrite node. Ah, not brew. Could not symlink blah blah. CPP-GC is not writable. Okay. Link block could not symlink bin node. Target user local bin node already exists. You may want to remove it. Okay, let's try that. And now this is okay. User local bin node. Really? What if I just sudo it? Just like scorched earth. Just like, you know what? Just do it. Running Homebrew as root is extremely dangerous and no longer supported. As Homebrew does not drop privileges on installation, you would be giving all build scripts full access to your system. Okay, well I don't care. That's fine. Huh. Node 19.4 is already installed. It's just not linked. Target already exists. Okay, I'm just going to remove these targets that it's recommending. Yes. Permission denied. Okay. Oh my god. Am I going to have to... Okay. Could not symlink blah blah blah. This is not writable. I don't know if I want to make it... Let's try making it writable first. Let's just make it... Just let everybody write and execute it. Let's try that. Isn't 7.7... Oh, it's not plus 7.7.7. It's 7.7. Unable to change operation not permitted. Okay. Oh my god. This is why I hate computers. You know, you just want to work. You just want to get some stuff done. I know I talked for an hour, but for Christ's sakes, just all right. I'm gonna have to go through. Wait, what was that? You may want to remove it. It's just giving me a different file every time to remove. I'm gonna have to go one by one to remove them all. Hopefully there's just a handful. I suppose I could... Whoops. If it gives me another one, I have an idea. Alright. I think I'm going to remove everything under... I think I'm going to remove this. Oh boy. User local include node. User local include node. I mean, okay, it doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's everything for node. Let's just remove it. Okay, sudo. Okay. OMG. Alright, I am going to remove everything under the doc folder too. Is it going to tell me permission denied? No, okay. And I am going... okay, I'm not going to remove everything in that folder. I'm just going to remove that file. Yes. Why? Why? Oh, come on. Do I... Okay, let's try restarting the shell. Sometimes that works. I mean, you know, it makes sense. Oh, come on. Already linked. Alright, let's try unlinking it and then linking it again. Let's try that. Okay. It's going to work this time. Mother effer. Okay, so that's okay. So which, where is it? Which or where? Which? Okay, so my path is actually that might be set in my bash folder. Let's look. All right, it's not gonna let me do it that way. Thanks for joining me, everybody. You know, this does make working a little less lonely. Although my wife is home today, so it would be lonely to begin with. But you know what I mean. Okay, let's see if Node's in here. Okay, so there is no reference to Node in here, so I am not sure where this path is coming from. Bin Node. Why is this Node? Let me look at this. All right, let's turn on word wrap and then check out if no. Okay, so right there. So where is that being set? That is the question. So I can see that this node folder is being set in my path. But if I look at my bash profile, I do not see that folder being referenced. Oh, wait. Let's just comment that out. Comment that out, and then we definitely need a new terminal. Alrighty. We are making progress. So what I'll do is I'll show you Kekbo first. Oh, that's not good. Okay, throw error internal. What? 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 Throw error loader. This is an error in one of the default modules. Is there something going on? Did I check something in that I shouldn't be checking in? No. Let me see something. I want to look at. All right, let's forget Electron CPP for now. I want to look at the Kekbo. I want to look at that. Lols apps source. At least we got the right version of Node working, right? I mean that's half the battle. All right, I want to check out the. It's not the package. Where is the file that defines like the builds? This is type. This is the Electron. There's a file that's not being shown here. I wonder if it's because it starts with like a. Let me see. Oh, package. No. Oh, yes. Oh. TCS. Is TCS installed? Ahaha. That could be it. So I just simply might not have TypeScript installed. No available formula. Did you mean TCC? I don't know what I meant actually. Let's look it up. Mac OS install TypeScript. And I should say brew. Oh wait, how to install TypeScript using Node npm. Install Homebrew, install Node. Got that. Install TypeScript. Let's do this. All right. New major version of npm available. Changelog. Okay, npm is also really old as well. I thought npm was included with Node, but I honestly didn't know. I don't know. I mean, like the thing is I don't know a lot about Node.js or npm. Again, my expertise is C++ in that entire build environment. Node.js is a whole different world. Now, I'm interested in learning, and that's part of the reasons I want to do this project in Electron is to learn more about Node.js. But currently, my knowledge on it is minimal. Did it just not install? Added one package, one contributor. A new major version of npm is available. Change log. Okay, let's try this again, and then we'll restart the shell. We have not accomplished much of anything today. I will say that. Updated 231 files. Okay. So let me see. If I do npm.version 6.14, if I do it here, okay. Is it going to tell me how to link? Okay, update. Let's see. Is npm in the file I just edited before? Open recent bash profile. Later. npm? No. All right. What did I want to install npm for? I wanted to install TypeScript. So let's try doing that with the full path. Let's try doing it like that. All right. Now let's try, no, it's not npm install. Maybe that'll work. I don't know. It's doing something. I do like what it's doing. It is 6:30. I'm going to have to call it a day soon. Again, didn't really accomplish very much. All right. Start. All right. If this works, I will explain what it is once it loads up. And it's loaded up. Okay, great. All right. So, where did Al go? I wanted to show Al. Let me show Al once more. I like to show it off. You know, I put a lot of work into it. It works. So this was the old one. And then the new one that I had started working on, if it comes back up, does absolutely nothing. But you can see that it's, you know, it's a similar style. This was actually using something. First of all, I started with just the UI. I just wanted to get the UI that had something that had the little menu over on the left hand side, and then after that, I was using an MQTT server that actually I had written to send messages. And let's see if we can get that working real quick, and then I think we're going to call it a day, having accomplished pretty much nothing. But that's not true. Again, we're getting established. This is a new computer. It's not a new computer. It's a new computer on which I'm doing development. We'll put it like that. It's a new development environment because I haven't used it in a long time. So whenever that happens, you're going to have some time. It's going to take time to get things set up. All right. So Al server, this is just an MQTT server, which is just a messaging broker. And all I wanted it to do was just be able to send messages back and forth. And I don't think I'm getting ahead of myself. I need to just breathe. So this should just work. And of course it didn't. CMake Conan. Oh my gosh. All right, do I need to update Conan? Conan 131. All right, let's see. Download package. It's on 136, but I think I can do. Oh no. I need to use pip, right? Which Conan? User local bin. Mac OS upgrade Conan. I honestly did not think it was going to take this long to get this environment set up. Okay, pip install Conan 3, but I need to make sure pip is PHP 3. And it didn't tell me. Okay, so it is using PHP 3. That's good. Finally, something is going our way where we don't have to install something in order to be able to install something else in order to be able to install something else. You're using pip and IT. Okay, that's fine. You should consider. Okay, it looks like it probably updated Conan. No, of course not. Can I cry? Is it? I mean, would it be wrong? Would it be a turnoff to anybody watching if I just cried? Ugh. 131. Let's try brew install Conan. All right, so it says it's installed and will be updated. Okay, if you're feeling brave, you can try to install from source with this. I'm feeling brave. I'm no coward. I am not a coward. Okay, Python 3.1. The bottle needs the Apple command line tools to be installed. Okay, I'm pretty sure those are installed, but let's install them. Maybe I updated Xcode and didn't install them. All right, so just to be clear, what we're trying to do now is install Conan, which is a package manager for C++. Trying to get the latest version. And we're doing that so that we can build the little server program I've written in C++ to interact with the Electron program that I've written and I want to continue to work on. But if this doesn't work right away, then maybe we'll just, I have a backup plan. I know what we'll do with the backup. But I feel sometimes that just, oh God, just programming a lot of times is just about fighting your tools. It's about getting your environment set up so that you can actually program. It's frustrating because a lot of times you just want to jump right in. I remember there was this post on I think it was Reddit, and there was this guy, and it was in the C++ user forums or in the C++ Reddit, and this guy, he was really new to C++, and he wanted to be able to connect C++ to a MySQL server and be able to run some queries. On the surface, that is a very simple ask. It is a very simple thing to do. And with languages like PHP, or I'm trying to think of another one. PHP has it built in, where you can just connect to a MySQL. There are others. And but C++ is very low level. C++ is like it's very close to the metal. So there is no built-in way. And in order to do it, you have to install a third-party library, and then you have to make sure that your build systems. It is a, oh my God, this is going to take 25 minutes. All right, we're gonna skip this. I'm gonna let that install in the background. But anyway, to get C++ to talk to MySQL, you need libraries. You need to know how to build it. You need to know how to link it. You need to know how to get everything to work. And this guy was new to C++. And I remember getting to an argument with this other guy who was an experienced programmer like me. And the other guy was like, oh, no, it's really easy to do. You just got to install this library, then you got to compile, and then put this into your header program, and then you got to make sure you link, and then you got to write a makefile. And it was like, and I told the guy who asked the original question, I was like, if this is something you need to do right away, C++ probably isn't the best thing. But if this is instead something you're doing to help you learn C++, I recommend you learn some other things first, just because C++ is a beast. And the guy, so the experienced programmer, he's arguing with me. He's like, it's not that difficult. And it's like, people don't, they are incapable of looking from the point of view of an inexperienced person. And until they get trapped, because yes, for him, for me, it would be very easy to write a C++ program that connects to a MySQL database, because I know how to use the package managers. I know how to set up my build environment so that I can, include the correct headers and link to the right libraries. I know how to do these things. But to somebody new to the language, it's very difficult, and something it would take me 20 minutes tops to write a little C++ program that's connecting to a MySQL program, MySQL server. For somebody who is just, slightly familiar with C++, it will take them a few days. Just maybe that's a little exaggeration. It will take them multiple hours. So it's one of the most frustrating things about programming is that it's somebody I used to work with, she called it meta work, where it's meta work. You have to do work to do work. And I love that term, and I use it a lot. It was like, yes, there's in programming there is a lot of meta work. You're not actually programming, you are doing things to make it so you can program. So this is going to take a little while to install. So I don't think we're going to make any real progress with the server today, but I will show you the client program. And that was, where did it go? No. So this is Kekbo, and that's what I started writing with Electron. And like I said, it's just a little chat program where you connect to the server, but the server's not running right now. That's what I was trying to build. And then you can send a message, you'll see the message. You can send a message, you'll see the message, and it was very simple. But I had never done an Electron program in my life. I had never done so it was a learning experience, and it took me a while to be able to do this. And so what I'm thinking is that the shell, that the where is it, the template that I want to write, I'm going to take a lot of code from this project here and put it into the template, and then I can refine it and make it better. And then once the template is refined and improved and better, I can take that code and put it back into this project and then move forward with this project, which will be my piece de resistance. But for now, it is a little before 7 o'clock. I am going to make some breakfast, and then I have to get started on actual work that pays the bills. Unfortunately, this does not pay the bills. But I appreciate you joining me. I know the title is live programming, and we really didn't do any programming. Hopefully tomorrow, or I don't want to commit to doing. I don't want to commit to programming tomorrow, and I also know how I am. I will go gung-ho and do 10 days in a row, and then you won't see me for 6 months. I would like to avoid that. I am probably traveling next week. I think I will be in Greenland, and so I will be alone, so I'll probably be bored and probably be streaming quite a bit when I'm in Greenland. I'll probably do some chess games and probably do some programming from Greenland, so that should be fun. But as far as tomorrow goes, I may be back. I hope so. Well, I think I hope so, but I may be back, and if I am back, I hope to see you. Be sure to like this video, that helps, and be sure to subscribe if you are not subscribed. I would love to be able to get to 1,000 subscribers so that maybe, just maybe, I could get a little bit of monetization from these videos. And I will be doing more travel videos as I leave next week to Greenland. And I still have travel videos from Argentina over the summer. And then the wife and I, we just got back from Iceland a couple of weeks ago. So I still have a lot of travel videos I need to put up. So again, please click subscribe. Help me get to that 1,000 subscriber mark so that I can start to monetize. I appreciate it. And everybody, take care.